Hello Year 4 and welcome back after half term. This is your reading lesson for Monday the 22nd of February. Right, so what I have got is I've found an online book which we're going to read together so you can actually see the words this time rather than just listening to me reading from a book. At least you can follow. So what we'll be doing each time, so we'll be looking at a chapter in each session. And we will have some questions to think about whilst I'm reading chapter 1 in a moment. So chapter 1 is called Double Life. Our book is actually called Raider's Peril. Okay, so you can have a good look at the front cover here. You get an idea of where it might be set. You've got all things hanging from the ceiling, like Moroccan style lighting, I'd say. Clothes that they are wearing. Okay, and then we've got a character here. Long hair, looks like he's got armour on. Okay, so before we start each chapter, there will be some questions to think about whilst reading. So, number 1, do you play video games? I know lots of you do. Number 2, what impression do you get of Katka? And number 3, as we're reading, are there any words that you see that you need help to understand? Because you can put those in a message to me and I can try and help with that. Okay, so you might want to just make a note of those questions, think about them, write anything down as you're reading. Okay, so as we're reading through, what impression do you get of Katka? And if you see any words that we come across as we're reading, then jot them down, okay? And then after we've read chapter 1, I will put up, I think there's 5 questions for you to answer about the chapter, okay? So you need to, again, still be listening carefully. You might need to rewind back to answer some of the questions. Okay, so I'll give you a moment to just make a note of those. Okay, so here is the book, Raider's Peril. Let's begin, chapter 1. Okay, got the characters there. Chapters. Here we go. Chapter 1, A Double Life. The quartz spear was nothing special. Plenty like it at the bazaar for the right price. The spear's cloudy white point lay on the workstation next to the pestle and mortar. It glinted dully. The workstation wasn't special either. A wooden worktop and a shelf of instruments that had never been used. Hammers, pliers, chisels. On the right-hand side was a lever with a gleaming handle. Workstations just like this one were used throughout the White Desert and the Silken City to craft new weapons and armour. Katana, Brittlestar, stood before it. She pounded the pestle into the bowl beneath until the substance within was ground to a fine powder. This substance was special, topaz. Katana had found the topaz gems in a chest on her last raid. In the gloom of a Stronghold basement, she had scooped them into her sack without looking and had run before the enemy guild could capture her. It was only when she had reached the safety of the Brittlestar stronghold that she had taken the time to examine the unusual blue gems. Topaz was rare, not as rare as diamond, sunstone or fire opal, but rare enough to make powerful weapons, rare enough to make Katana and her Brittlestar guild almost unstoppable. Almost. Fire opal weapons would make her truly unstoppable. A guild leader who could equip her followers with fire opal weapons would be revered across the White Desert. What she wouldn't give to be that leader. Katana reached for the lever, gripped the smooth handle and pulled a sheet of light engulfed the workstation, and with a boom, "Katka!" shouted a voice from downstairs. Katka pressed the pause button on the screen. Her character Katana froze in the act of reaching for the topaz spear. The spear lay like a shard of luminous ice, its light glittering on Katana's braids. "What, Mum?" Katka called back, pulling off the headset that allowed her to talk to other players. Katka blinked at the light, at the bright overhead light. Whenever she played Raider's Peril, she got so involved that she forgot that she was a real girl sitting in a real bedroom. "You have to help Milana with her spellings." "I'm busy, Mum." "Well, so am I." Katka rolled her eyes. She pulled the headset back over her ears, squished herself more comfortably into the pillows that were piled on the carpet, and unpaused the game. Katana grasped the spear and raised it into the air in triumph. Blue light flashed out, illuminating the sturdy stone walls of the Brittle Star Stronghold. Gripping the controls, Katka directed Katana through the Stronghold corridors and down the spiral staircase to the weapons stall. All of the members of the Brittle Star Guild were gathered in the flickering torchlight, waiting for their leader. They were raiding tonight. Perianne stood at the front of the group. Her blue Brittle Star cape swished around her shoulders. She had her bow in one hand and a full quiver strapped to her back. "Ready to teach the Gutvine Guild a lesson?" said Perianne over the headset. "Oh, I am so ready." "Katka, come down here and help your sister." "I'll help after this raid, Mum. How long?" "Half an hour, I promise." "Who was that?" asked Perianne. Katka had forgotten to take off her headset. "Just my mum nagging. Come on, we're going to get those Gutvines." Katka knew the White Desert better than she knew her 12 times tables. She had been playing Raider's Peril for over a year and had founded the Brittle Star Guild last Christmas when her old guild had disbanded. Katka and her loyal followers had crisscrossed the desert together many times, sneaking, sprinting and fighting to reach their target. Today was no different. The raiders ran close to the sand and dodged between scrubby bushes and trees. They ducked behind a dune as a rival guild passed nearby riding saddled emus. As the Brittle Star reached the shadow of the Gutvine stronghold, they began to creep. Katana dashed ahead and crouched in the shadows of an ancient temple. "It's safe," whispered Katka. The raiders' capes fluttered and sand flew around their feet as one by one they joined her behind the wall. When everyone was gathered, Katana cautiously peered through a shattered window at their target. The Gutvine stronghold was ugly. There was no other word for it. It was a sloppily built castle with lopsided battlements and cockeyed windows. The walls were built of mismatched stone, and there was a door halfway up one tower, which made no sense for some reason. There was also a model of a pink flamingo perched on the roof. The Gutvines weren't the most powerful guild in the White Desert. They didn't have the best equipment either, but there was a special reason why Katka had targeted them this evening. Jaden Sharp. Jaden Sharp was in Katka's class at school. He was the sort of boy who annoyed everyone, including his friends. Today he had been especially irritating. Mrs. Gorman had been teaching them design and technology for once. She had brought in bags and bags of recycling from home, plastic bottles and cardboard boxes. She dug out all the wires, batteries and motors from the science cupboard and had challenged Year 6 to make a working burglar alarm. Katka had just got started on a really fantastic idea for an alarm in the shape of a dog that really barked when Jaden started, being Jaden. "Will you stop clipping crocodile clips to Amanda's ears, please, Jaden?" "I wasn't, Mrs. Gorman. I saw you, and take that box off your head." "It's not on my head." Katka looked. There was a box on his head, right over his eyes. "And remove Rick's pencil case from under your jumper. He's going to need that." "Who's Rick, Mrs. Gorman?" "Right." Mrs. Gorman slammed her whiteboard pen on the table. "Since Jaden can't be sensible, Jaden is responsible for the whole class missing their DT lesson. Tidy away your things, please. We will have silent reading for the rest of the afternoon." It was the second time that week. Jaden's Raider's Peril character was a bearded warrior called Zandon Gutvine. Katka spotted him on guard outside the Gutvine Stronghold as the Brittle Star party approached. A smirk invaded her face. Payback time. Xandon wore a copper breastplate and carried an iron axe. Pitiful equipment, really, but Katka wasn't going to let that stop her raiding his guild for every last gem she could get. She had been really looking forward to making that barking burglar alarm. "Perion, let's draw them out," Katka whispered into her microphone. Her hands felt sweaty and her heart was beating fast. This always happened right before a raid, but she knew what she was doing. She'd done it 100 times. "On it, Katana," said Perion. It was strange to think that Perion had been Katana's second in command for so long, and they still didn't know each other's real names. Katka was always very careful when playing online not to give away her name or any information that could connect her avatar to her real life. Over time, the pair had found they could raid together happily without either one sharing this information. And a firm friendship had blossomed. On screen, Perion held out her bow and nocked an arrow. She drew the string back and her cape billowed. Snick went as the arrow let fly, and thwack as it landed in the sand at Xandon's feet. The stronghold erupted. Raiders poured from all of the doors, including the door that was halfway up a tower. Some even leapt from the roof. They landed like heavy rain on the sand. "Go, go, go!" Katka yelled into her microphone. The raiding party streamed forwards. Figures ran this way and that, the blue Brittle Star capes marking out Katana's allies. Amid the ragtag Gutvine warriors, Katana raced to the main entrance, pulled back her topaz spear and flung it straight at the doors. Crash! They shivered into pieces, and the raiding party ran inside. Kafka had a system carefully worked out, and every guild member knew their role. 2 raiders ran to loot chests, 2 headed straight for the weapons store, the rest fought off attackers and cleared an escape route. Katana raised her spear and circled the room, ready to defend her party against Gutvine warriors. But the Gutvines had disappeared. "Check all the rooms," she said to Perion. "They could be preparing an ambush." Katana and Perion crept towards the nearest door. 1, 2, 3, said Perion, and she flung open the door, swinging her bow to her face. The empty room. "No one there," said Kafka. They stalked inside. 3 more doors came off in different directions. "You go left, I'll go right," said Kafka. "Be ready in case we need to help each other out. Always." 2 more doors flung open. 2 more empty rooms. "And no exit from either," said Perion. "Shall we try the last door?" That door led to a winding staircase. Katana and Perion tiptoed upstairs as they stalked through the shadowy passageways. Katka could hear voices over her headset. "I've emptied the 2 silver chests. Not much more here, but I've grabbed what I could. This ruby sword will sell for hundreds at the bazaar." "Ganymede, Pink Socks." Katana strode fiercely down the corridor. Ganymede and Pink Socks were the Brittle Star raiders down for chest looting. "Anyone else up here?" "Not a soul," said Ganymede's voice. "The Gutvines are all outside, look." Across the room, a door swung open into nothingness. This must have been the tower, with the door they had seen from the outside. Katana walked to the opening and looked out. Across the desert, the Gutvines had gathered. Katka could just make out Xandon's plaited beard and black axe. In the centre of the group stood a man dressed in crimson, clutching an obsidian staff. Obsidian was rarer than topaz and more powerful. Katka wanted everyone in her guild to have weapons like that. "Right, get everything you can, then get out," said Katka. "If the Gutvines are outside, the stronghold's abandoned. We're going to torch it." Perion spread the word. Abandoned had a special meaning in Raider's peril. It meant that no one was left inside a building. Only abandoned structures could be burned down. Katana jumped from the open doorway and landed in a crouch on the desert below. She exchanged her spear for a torch, which she lit with a match, scraped against the stronghold wall. As Katana held the burning torch aloft, Katka felt her heart slow. Warm tingles spread through her chest. This was it. She'd brought her guild through unarmed, and they had the riches of the Gutvines to prove it. Cat! The bedroom door swung open. Katka's sister Milana stood there wearing her panda onesie and clutching her school book bag. Can we practice spellings now? Katka covered her microphone with one hand. 2 seconds. I'm just about to burn the Gutvines to the ground. Okay, 2 seconds. Milana padded across the floor and sat on the pillows beside Katka. She sat so close that Katka's elbow brushed against the warm, fluffy fabric whenever she moved, making it hard for Katka to use the controls. Good thing the Gutvines didn't look like they were about to fight back. Why aren't they trying to stop us? Asked Perian as she emerged from the Stronghold entrance after a final sweep. They're just cowards, said Katka. Now run! Katana put the torch to the Stronghold's foundations, turned and fled. When she reached the shelter of the temple, she paused to look back. It's been 2 seconds, said Milana, tugging Katka's arm. Don't you want to watch the ugliest stronghold in the White Desert burn to the ground? Milana turned to the screen, but didn't let go of Katka's sleeve. The flames roared around the structure, then the whole ugly mess sank slowly into the ground. The pink flamingo was last to go. Fire was the only way to destroy things completely in Raider's Peril. It turned valuable materials into worthless ash. All that was left of the stronghold was a black heap. Katka grinned. She couldn't help it. It would serve Jaden right for spoiling DT. Spellings now. I just need to thank my guild. Spellings now. 2 actual seconds this time. Katka adjusted her mic and Katana turned to face the Brittle Star Raiders. Fantastic. Another successful raid. We got everything the Gutvines had, so... Katana, Perrin's voice interrupted. What are they doing? Katana spun round. The Gutvines ran towards the smoking heap, gathered ash into their loot sacks and dashed in the opposite direction. Katka watched as Xandon flung himself at the ash, gathering so much that his loot bag bulged. Voices clamoured on her headset. They're making for the Silken City. What are they up to? We should follow. Spellings now! Milana stomped across the console and jabbed her fingers at the buttons. The warm whirring noise that Katka was so used to became a short whine before the console spluttered out of life. Milana! Katka grabbed at Milana's arm. But it was too late. The screen was black. I've got 10 out of 10, 2 weeks in a row. If I can get it again, I'll get the head teacher's golden star. Katka stared at the blank screen. Fine, she sighed. She adjusted the pillows on the floor and took the spellings book that Milana handed her. Milana lay opposite, a pencil already poised over a piece of paper. First word, money. Okay, year 4. So that wasn't quite what I expected. I started off, I thought it was actually set in the time, and then it turns out it's actually a girl, Katka, playing video games. Okay, so I would assume that's the impression I get of Katka. She enjoys playing video games. She also plays online with other people, and there was a lot of safety mentioned there, wasn't there? She plays with somebody, yet she doesn't give away anything that could link her avatar in the game to her real life. Okay, so questions we need to think about now. So after reading the chapter, what is the name of Katka's avatar? What is the name of her guild? Okay, so that's like her tribe of people, her friends online, and they're together as a guild. It's like a little army. How would you describe Katka? Why does Katka's mum want her to come downstairs? And what is the name of the opposing guild? Now, she knows the opposing guild. She knows one of the members, doesn't she? He seems to be a bit of a troublemaker at school, and the whole class had to forego their DT lesson because this boy was messing about, wasn't he? So Katka wanted her revenge on this boy during that chapter. So what I'd like you to do is just have a go at answering those questions, and then you can show me on Class Dojo. Okay, so that will be it for now. I'll leave you to write down those questions or just answer them as they are. Pause it and answer the questions best you can. Okay, year 4. Oh, that's tomorrow's. Okay, year 4, so I'm going to leave it there and I shall see you soon. Goodbye for now.